after discussing the different types of issues relating to the performance and planning, now we have come to a very important point. This important point is about the types of planning. We have been discussing the planning for the last 3 sessions, but we have not come across on this point that whether the planning, what kind of planning is required for day to day, for short term or for long term durations. The management has made it possible to give specific ways of planning things for on the basis of the durations. If day-to-day planning is to be done, it requires operational planning. For short-term durations, we require tactical planning. And of course, for long-term duration, what we require is the strategic planning. We will throw some more light on these types of planning processes. Also, there is one more approach, that is a contingent planning. We will be sharing with that later on. Let us now have a look at these planning processes one by one. The pictorial presentation in the right side indicates the types of planning consisting of strategic, operational, tactical and contingency. We now see what is basically strategic planning. We already discussed that it is required for long-term period. So the strategic planning, which addresses the long-term aspects of organizational development, that is shaping a roadmap for growth and changes in business functions, is called strategic planning. Goals set during strategic planning are typically further refined into tactical and operational levels. And as mentioned earlier, again I tell you that the duration or the cover period is long in case of the strategic planning. Operation planning is another type of planning approach. Here, one thing comes up, that is the planning which is to be done on day-to-day basis. The operation planning centers on day-to-day concerns like staffing and inventory management, because it involves detailed objectives with specific deadlines and task assignment, and it covers a short period of time. Name itself indicates its meaning, that is, it is operational, to operate the business. The planning which is required to operate the business is called operational planning. But a very important type of planning around which the prioritization of the task and the delegation of responsibilities of two team members to achieve a specific goal lies is the tactical planning. So tactical planning revolves around the prioritization of the task and the delegation of the responsibilities. This delegation of responsibilities is done to the team members to achieve specific goals. It is, you can say, is a practical aspect of planning. You can also say that it is done to determine what needs to be done to reach a goal. Assigning tasks to suitable team members and establishing timeline for completion is the most important essence of this tactical planning. And it will not be wrong to say that the tactical planning is essential. Tactical planning is essential in effective and efficient execution of strategies outlined in broader strategic plan. You can say that the tactical planning acts as a bridge between strategic and operational planning. thereby encompassing short-term goals and the task designed to yield specific outcomes within defined time frame. It often incorporates operational level details, and it also paves the way for contingency level planning. I hope you understand my point. Well, these are the three major types of planning, that is strategic planning, operational planning, and tactical planning. We have taken tactical planning tactfully here so that we could understand the difference, so that we could show you that this tactical planning is acting as a bridge between the strategic and operational planning. Now, last addition that we are going to make here in the types of planning is the contingency planning. Dear students, the contingency planning delves into intricate action items. It outlines responses for unexpected events, or you can say for emergency like natural disasters or extreme weather, where things are unforeseen. When something happens all of a sudden, for which you are not prepared. This level of planning ensures the organization is prepared to address unforeseen disruptions to business operations, which is not predetermined, which is not expected. So anything that happens all of a sudden, anything which is unexpected, we plan for that situation too, and that is the contingency planning. So, after discussing the different types of planning, this picture will further elaborate these three types of planning processes, that is the strategic, tactical, and operational. Through this picture, a few important points are coming up. That is, regarding strategic planning, there is a question: why and when? Here, you can see the entrepreneur, you see the president, you see the partners and directors here, the people who are involved in the strategic planning. And in short, again, you can say that it is more comprehensive and long-term planning in nature as compared to other types of planning processes. The tactical plans are basically for one thing. The strategic planning was for why and when. The tactical planning is where and how. And the administrators for this tactical planning are the managers and the coordinators. It is called a medium-term link between the levels. It's not the top-level management. Followed by this is the operational plan. Operation plan, as mentioned earlier, is just for day-to-day situations. So the question here lies: what is to be done? We are not discussing here why and when, we are not discussing here where and how, but we are discussing what. And the people who are going to execute this are the executors, technical executors. It is very specific kind of planning. It is just for short duration. This was the idea about the types of plannings. Dear students, now closely linked with the types of planning are the levels of planning. We now will throw some light on the levels of planning too. In order to understand that what are the levels of planning, we have to see this picture on the right side of the screen that shows few triangles. This picture shows a few things here like corporate, business, operational, functional. We are going to discuss this in the light of this picture. First of all, corporate level planning. This corporate level planning involves the establishment of strategic goals and objectives for the entire organization. It is done along with determining the most effective strategies to attain them. Simply means that when we are talking about the establishment of the strategic goals and objectives for the entire organization, at the same time we must see here that what are the effective strategies to attain these goals and objectives. Here, we should not forget that the corporate level executives primarily focus on one question, that is, why industries should they get into? What industries should they get into? It's a question. It is about the corporate level planning. Another level of planning is the business level planning. Business level planning involves transforming specific plans and initiatives tailored to individual business units, or you can say divisions, within the organization. These are to align with the strategic goals set at the corporate level. Here, at this level, manager attempts to address questions such as what are their strengths and weaknesses. This is called business level planning, where the efforts are made to find out their strengths and weaknesses, which are done to find out the specific plans and initiatives which are made for business units or business organizations or the divisions within the organization. Followed by this is the functional level planning. The functional level planning centers on creating plans and initiatives. Why this creation of plans and initiatives is done? It is done for specific functional areas within organization. What are the functional areas of business organization? Let me tell you, these are most probably or most commonly called finance, marketing, or you can say operations. This is done to contribute to the achievement of the business unit level objectives. In short, the functional level planning is about the various kind of functions, about the functional areas of the organization. In every business organization, there are some functional areas, as mentioned, that is marketing, finance, operations, etc. So if anything is done to achieve the business unit level objectives, it is called functional level planning. Lastly, it is also a very important kind of plan, that is operational level planning. The operational level planning entails the day-to-day management and execution of plans. Management on daily basis makes and executes the plans and take a number of initiatives. These initiatives are always taken to realize the goals established at the functional and the business unit levels. Again, every business, irrespective of the type, it entails the day-to-day management and execution of the plans and initiatives. So this operational level planning is required to meet that kind of requirement. So these are the four major categories of the levels of planning. Planning is done at these four levels. These levels are found almost in all organizations. Most probably, in case of the medium, And large organizations, we find the existence of these levels of planning. In case of the small businesses, maybe in case of the micro level enterprises, where the resources are limited, there the corporate level, business level, or functional level and or operational level is the same. We don't find any difference. One man, being the head of the organization, performs all these functions. So nothing special, no special preparation is made to create a kind of situation. So in short, these are basically confined or are concerned with the medium and the top level organizations. Friends, now after having a look at the types of planning, we are now going to focus on a very important segment in the planning process, that is the goal setting. Goal setting is a purposeful and explicit process that starts with identifying a new objective, a new skill, or a new project you want to achieve. Then you make a plan for achieving it and you work to complete it. This is the goal setting. Preparing something important for the organization. This goal setting is also a complete process. A number of steps are taken for goal setting purposes. I want to share with you the steps in goal setting. Goal setting is one of the important aspects, important parts, important component of the planning process. If we look at the steps of goal setting, we find from this picture that there are few points to take into consideration. First of all, define clear objectives, followed by assess the current situation, identify resources and constraints, define key performance indicators, that is the KPIs, also development action plans, allocate responsibilities, set milestones, monitor and evaluate the progress, and finally to provide feedback, and in the light of the feedback, review and revise. Review and revise. So you can see from the first step, that is the where we are defining the clear objectives, till we review and revise the objectives. It's a comprehensive process. Comprehensive process of the goal setting, which is required in every business. Now, we throw some light on these goal setting process. These steps of goal setting, we can have a quick look at what these steps are. First of all, define clear objectives. Clearly articulate specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and time bound, that is the SMART. SMART objectives that align with your overall vision is to be done at this stage. This is the basic aspect, primary aspect of the goal setting. What we see? SMART. I already mentioned earlier in my previous discussion, what is the meaning of this SMART. Followed by this, once we define the objectives, the next step is to assess the current situation. We do it in our day-to-day life also. We do the same, we take the same steps. We have to evaluate our current position in resources. We have to evaluate our current position in resources, understanding the context in which we will be working towards our goals. We have to ensure this. We have to assess the current situation. by way of evaluating current position and resources, understanding the context in which we will be working towards achievement of our goals. Once we assess the current situation, then we find the next step that comes up is the identifying the resources and constraints. We have to determine the available resources and any potential obstacle that might impact our ability to achieve the goals. After identifying the resources and constraints, the next important thing is the defining of the KPIs. KPIs are called basically the key performance indicators. Key performance indicators are popularly called as KPIs. These KPIs establish measurable indicators that will be used to track progress and success by ensuring that they align with our objectives. Alignment is very important here. And also, the next step, as mentioned in the picture, is the outline. We have to outline the specific steps and actions which are required to accomplish each goal and which is required for breaking them down into measurable or manageable tasks. It is called developing the action plans. After developing the action plans, now we have to allocate the responsibilities. Here, we have to assign the responsibilities to individuals or teams. It will clearly define roles and accountabilities in the goal setting process. Next step is the setting milestones. Break down the timeline into milestones or checkpoints is the next important step of the goal setting, because it provides opportunities to assess progress and make adjustments. Once we set the milestone, we can go to the next step, and that is the step of monitoring and evaluating the progress, wherein we regularly track progress against established KPIs, where we evaluate whether the action aligns with the initial plans and making adjustments as needed. And then we think of providing feedback. Dear students, planning without implementation is a futile activity. We all have understood this fact. Providing feedback is a very important aspect, is a very important step of the goal setting process, because it offers constructive feedback to individuals or teams. It acknowledges the achievements. It addresses the challenges. It encourages the continuous improvement. The feedback is a very important step of the goal setting process, because it is the feedback on the basis of which we will be able to make continuous improvement in the existing system. We will be able to meet with the different kind of challenges. We will be able to acknowledge the achievements. And also, this constructive feedback to individuals and teams is required for the development of every business organization. You can say that the long-term survival of every business depends on it to a very large extent. And lastly, the last step in the planning process is to review and revise. There is always, we should not say that the goal setting is process which is going to take an end in itself. It's not an end itself. It is a process where reviewing and revision is possible. There is always a scope for improvement. In the light of this statement, reviewing and revise by making periodical review of the goals, by way of assessing the effectiveness of the strategies and revise the plans if needed, and adapting to changes in the internal or external environment. We can go ahead in the light of this discussion. So here, what you are seeing is goal setting, which is considered as a very purposeful process. It is a very explicit process that starts with identifying a new objective, a skill or project we want to achieve, and then we make a plan for achieving it and we work to complete it. So the stages, the steps in goal setting that we have seen here consist of defining the clear objectives, assessing the current situation, identifying the resources and constraints, defining the key performance indicators, developing the action plans, allocating responsibilities, setting the milestones, monitoring and evaluating the progress, and also by providing feedback, and finally by reviewing and revising if required. Well, dear students, it was a comprehensive idea about the goal setting.